So I started my podcast February of 2024. And before that, I spent quite a bit of time researching how to go about starting it, what kind of equipment you need, video editing tools, thumbnail creation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. For literally 2 years, I spent kind of researching or having this thought in my mind of how do I get started? I need to research. And I never did anything about it. Essentially, I was procrastinating for 2 years before I actually pulled the trigger and did it. You don't need fancy equipment to get started. All you really need is your phone. And if you have the native headphones and mic that they provide for you when you purchase it, that works as well too for a microphone. If you have any AirPods, that'll work as well. You don't need fancy equipment. Even right now, I'm actually recording on my iPhone 12 mini. You don't even need to edit your videos if you don't want. A lot of people these days want authenticity. They want to see what you're about, your personality, and if you have something valuable to share. The only thing I would probably recommend if you're getting started is maybe get comfortable talking to a phone or talking to a camera, because it's going to be weird at first, but after a while that kind of goes away. Maybe do some practice drills where you could potentially, I don't know, talk into the mic for 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes until you're comfortable. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It could be anything about your day, just so that you can get comfortable talking to a camera when there's truly no audience here. My whole point is just hit record. Just use the equipment that you already have to see if it's something that you actually want to do, and continue on. If you wait to get the right equipment or the right time, it's just really not going to happen. Like I mentioned before, I spent so much time researching what kind of mics I should get, what kind of lighting I should get, how I should do my videos. You find content creators where you look at them and you like, I kind of want to emulate their style. It looks cool. You find different ones. You get different advice on how YouTube is on easy mode right now, what's kind of trending, authenticity, whether or not they want highly edited videos. And you're just going down this YouTube rabbit hole of a bunch of different creators that come up on your feed based on what you're looking at. And you start to pull bits and pieces from different things. It can become overwhelming sometimes, where you're just like, well, I don't know what to do. And it makes you second guess, should I just start or do I actually need to wait? And it kind of just, in my opinion, it kind of just hinders your own progress. You need to at least start. You need to understand that, hey, you're going to be different than any other creator. Sure, you may take bits and pieces from certain creators, but at the end of the day, it's going to be you. It's going to be your personality and what you bring to the people that are watching you and whatever value you can provide. Again, the point is your videos don't need to be perfect, which leads me into my next point, is that your videos are going to suck at first. They really are. Even now, I don't have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. And the ones that I do look back on, I kind of cringe. I couldn't stand the sound of my voice, and I still can't really when I play it back, but you get used to it. Same thing with whether or not, you can stand how you look on camera. Those are things that you're going to have to get over if this is something that you want to continue to do for the long term. As I mentioned earlier, they're going to suck. You're going to improve every single time you do a video. You're going to get better and better. You're going to get more comfortable. You're going to find different things that you want to do or different things that you want to improve on as every video comes on. But you have to put in the work. And it's not going to be in a matter of a short time, right? Barring that you have some sort of media background or some videography background where you can get all the specific, angles and lights and the cool editing. For the most part, I think the vast majority of folks, their videos are just not going to be that great. So they're not going to get better until you put in those reps. And it could be hundreds of videos before you start to kind of realize, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing here. But it takes time. Just like with anything else, you need to practice and you need to put in the reps. And it's better to put in those reps now while nobody is watching, which is the next point that I really learned. Like, nobody really cares. My videos, I think my biggest video was like 250 views, which is nothing. I mean, I'm grateful for the 250 people that watched it, which is awesome. It may not be in the thousands or the millions, but there's not a lot of people watching your stuff. So nobody really cares, right? Your friends, they may be there to support you, and they know that you have a YouTube channel, but it may not be something that they're interested in, the stuff that you're putting out, and that's okay. You'll find your niche when you try to figure out what works for you. And since nobody is watching, or you have such a small fan base when you're starting out, try different things. Everybody talks about you need to niche down and you need to find it. So how are you going to find that if you don't try different things? You got to try different types of video formats, whether it's like talking head or podcasts or shorts or whatever content you want to put out there, skits, informational videos, whatever it is that you want to do. Try different things, because you're not going to really know what works for you. And then I also want to say that do things that interest you. Don't do things that you see on YouTube that are trending and you can capitalize off of. I'm sure there might be some of those things that you might be interested in, but really find what really interests you and talk about that stuff, or provide the information. If you're knowledgeable about, God, I don't know, just anything, video gaming, and you know exactly what it needs to be, a streamer, then maybe try some content on that and see how that works out for you. The main point is try different things, see what actually works, and then use that to either lean in or try something else. I think that by doing that, you are being real to yourself. You're being authentic, and I think that's what people want to see. More authenticity, rather than following the trend that are happening and what everybody's making videos on. Whatever it is, the topic that you're doing for your content, you need to put a little bit of your own personality in there. So authenticity, I think, is probably the key. Just be yourself. Talk about things that interest you. Talk about things that maybe you want to learn in the future. So you're not going to please everybody. That's just the fact of the matter. It's you just have to be you. And because ultimately you're the one that's creating this content, and if you're not happy with it, you're going to burn out and you're maybe going to stop doing content creation. I think one of the other things that I would say is we all have goals. If this is something that you just started or that you're thinking about starting, we all have goals. Most people say, I want to reach 100K subscribers, or 1 million subscribers, or whatever. Those are all great goals to have in the long term. However, you need to make small goals that are realistic. What do I mean by that? Maybe instead of focusing on how many watch time hours or how many subscribers or how many likes you get at each video, maybe just focus on, I need to make sure I'm putting one piece of content out onto social media platforms once a week or bi-weekly, whatever the case may be. Figure out a cadence or a schedule that works for you and focus on actually doing that, being consistent, because that's how your channel is going to grow. I feel is if you keep putting forth the effort on being consistent and posting weekly, maybe using that long form video to chop up and use for shorts or for clips on whatever other social media platforms you have. But the goal is to have small goals. I think the other thing probably would be good is write it down somewhere so that you have access to it. It's visual, whether it be a board on your wall or notes on your phone. Write it down somewhere so that you can periodically come back to it and keep yourself accountable to continue on this consistent path of you putting content out there. For me, that's really what my goals are, just to stay consistent, improve every single video that I can, whether it just be something minor in the edits or just a better shot or a better background. As I mentioned, authenticity is a big thing right now. So even going live would be pretty good, I think. So for me, I think the small goals is probably going to be helpful, at least from a consistency standpoint. When I did my podcast last year, because I wasn't prepping, because I wasn't thinking ahead, I had to kind of put it on hiatus because I couldn't get the guests or I couldn't get them scheduled. This year I was actually a little bit more proactive, where I reached out to people ahead of time, and now I've got a little bit of a backlog of upcoming guests. So should something happen, somebody cancels last minute, I have somebody else that I can back up, or I have a backlog of videos that I have recorded so that I can post them, and I'm not rushing or scrambling to figure out what my next video is going to be about or who my next guest is going to be. And so I'm going to continue on that path. Sure, I don't have a ton of followers right now, but that's going to be my goal for the year. And then hopefully by the end of the year, I'll see some success within my channel and see where that kind of goes. But in the meantime, having fun and doing this, enjoying this. I think the last thing that I'll tell you is don't care. Just do it. Just go out and talk about what you want to talk about. Who cares about everybody else? Like I mentioned earlier, you're not going to make everybody happy, and so be it, right? You'll find the people that actually do um, listen to your stuff and watch your stuff, and they can relate to you because of your authenticity or because of your personality or the person that you are. So with that all being said, the $1 million question is, what are you waiting for?